Hi warriors, it's Hannah here and welcome back to another video. I'm working from home today. I've got half an hour's lunch break, which means half an hour to mukbang style all of the questions you guys have been sending for today's Q&A. First, what am I eating? I'm eating a massive Tupperware of noodles with veg and peanut-satay sauce. I could probably have it every single day. The first question I received is, do I still eat the same amounts as I did whilst I was in recovery? It's a difficult one to answer, but probably not. I don't think I eat the exact same foods and the exact same amounts. However, I still eat the exact same way. So whilst my needs may have changed, I still listen to my cues and I still eat freely. However, during parts of my recovery, I definitely experienced extreme hunger, and I do think that during those periods, I probably did eat more or more dense foods. However, I wouldn't avoid these foods now. I just listen to my cravings and go with that. At the moment, as I'm trying to gain a little bit of weight, I'm also trying to go beyond that a little bit. So going beyond comfortably full and actively seeking out some calorie-dense foods, just to give myself that little bit of a boost and to get to my current goals. Question number 2. What are my current goals? So one of my current goals is to gain some weight. My second goal is to find a better work-life balance, which I've attempted by accepting this new chapter in my life and starting in this new job. I also want to spend more time with friends and family, and hopefully when some of the COVID restrictions ease, that will be possible again as well. What goals have you all got? I'd love to know, so definitely leave a comment below. Next question. How long did you lose your period before it came back? I never had my period until I was 21 years old, so I don't know when it would normally have started, but my eating disorder sort of prevented it from ever starting before I was 21. So I can't say for sure. It was only by eating consistently, taking enough rest, and not putting my body through excessive stress that I came back. So keep going and have patience. What is something challenging still that you're currently working on? My biggest challenge is, as I said, my work-life balance. I find it all too easy to be constantly working and in that go mindset. So I'm trying to take more breaks, to have my evenings off, to enjoy the 9-to-5 life now, and to have my weekends at least once a week to just chill, to just be, to read a book and not worry about anything that's on my diary for the next day or the next week. How did you overcome an exercise addiction? And is it okay to eat around 5,000 to 10,000 calories a day? So to answer the first part of that question, to beat an exercise addiction, I think the best thing is to just quit exercise altogether. Once you're doing the exercise, it's way too easy to just add on that extra half an hour or to run that extra mile or whatever. So I think just stop. Give your body the rest that it really needs and stop putting that extra stress on it. This will also help various other things, such as rebalancing your hormones. In terms of the second question, is it okay to eat 5,000 to 10,000 calories? Yes. And it might mean that you're experiencing extreme hunger, but this is your body telling you that you need this energy. If you are exercising, this might also be contributing to the extreme hunger. How do you know what your body wants to eat? That's a good question, because obviously the eating disorder will mess with your hunger cues, will mess with your mind, and you might not know what you want to eat, or you might no longer know what kind of foods you like. I think it's important to challenge your fear foods and to try new things. Try things that you used to like as a kid, things that you might not ever have had before, and to go from there. Relearn your preferences. And then, once you relearn your preferences, listen to your hunger cues and your cravings. Try it. And if you feel like you don't have enough energy, you're constantly lethargic, then try to eat a bit more as well. Sufficient and regular meal times are really important. What was my favorite thing to do as a kid? I loved spending loads of time outdoors, and I absolutely love dressing up. I've also been a book nerd pretty much most of my life. Next, how much weight gain is normal for all in? I know that in hospital, they aim for about at least 700 grams a week, I think, at least where I went in hospital. There's obviously also the issue of water weight, and during your recovery, you can gain a lot of water weight, so your weight is bound to fluctuate a lot, but this is just temporary weight, and it's not real lasting weight gain that will stick with you, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Anyway, whilst it's important to focus on gaining weight, I mean, that's honestly the thing that's going to change your mindset most. It's not something to obsess over. Being too focused on the scales and the numbers on the scales can absolutely drive you mad, so try not to get sucked into that too much. During my recovery, it absolutely drove me mad, and when I decided to stop weighing myself, that's when I was finally able to push through and honestly go for recovery. Full recovery. What are some other ways to deal with your emotions other than restriction? How can I really feel my feelings? I'm planning to do a full video on this, I think, so definitely let me know if you're interested in that video. But there's a lot of ways to cope. If you are in a crisis situation, then distraction can be really helpful. So playing games, watching a series, reading a book, having a bath, going out with friends, or learning a new skill or a new language can be really useful. However, in the long run, you're going to have to face your emotions. You can't always run away from them. For that reason, I think it's really important to practice mindfulness regularly and to check in with yourself. Maybe keep a mood journal. There's several apps for that as well. And write down how you're feeling, what you're grateful for, what you might be struggling with, and how you're tackling these things. If you find that there's any triggers for low mood, then definitely keep an eye out for them and have a strategy in place when these moods do come up, or when these triggers do come up, so that you are prepared and so that you don't let things go downhill from there. It's also important to determine the things that make you happy, because that way you can plan in more of those activities. What is the best sport to reintroduce in recovery? I've said this before, but I don't really recommend any exercise during recovery personally. However, if you do want to do some kind of exercise, just very slow walks, very gentle yoga, some stretches, those could be alright. And mental exercise. Read a book, watch a film, a documentary, anything like that, to keep you distracted without actually putting additional stress on your body. After recovery, feel free to do whatever you like, but don't do it obsessively. Understand that your body needs rest. How frequent were my extreme hunger cravings? Can they take place every day? Extreme hunger can happen throughout recovery, intermittently, or not at all. For me, they took place over a long period of time, and then occasionally returned after that. And that is okay. It'll be different for everyone, but try to listen to these cravings, and that's how they will ultimately pass. I don't experience extreme hunger anymore now, and it's because I listen to my body. I love the next question. Does your boyfriend help and support your weight gain goals? And do you have any tips for being able to share it with him? So yes, my boyfriend accepts me unconditionally, and I think that is amazing. When I told him that I wanted to gain some more weight, he was supportive. He told me that I was fine the way I was, but if it was going to make me feel more confident, then he was all for it. If I'm more confident, all the better for my mental health and for the way I interact with him as well. And I was a bit nervous sharing it with him initially, just because, I don't know really. I don't know. He's very open to everything and he accepts me. But I was a bit nervous, and the way I tackled it is just by doing it. I had to just go for it. Anyway, now it's something that we can talk about freely, which is really nice. And he will, from time to time, also make some mass gainers, which are definitely good. How do I feel about weight training in primary amenorrhea recovery? Again, a similar question. Any exercise will put stress on your body and is best avoided, especially something like weight training can be very, very intense and is probably left until after recovery and until after you got your period back. However, everyone's situation is unique. I can't tell you what you can and can't do. Obviously, exercise is a great thing for stress relief as well, but I think there's other ways that you can relieve your stress. So try to go for those activities over ones that are more strenuous, just for now, and leave the exercise until your mind and your body are fully recovered. That will be it for now. I've only got a few minutes left of my lunch break and I need to somehow get through all of this. So yeah, I'm hoping to do another Q&A in the future, maybe one on my job as well, maybe one with a specific topic in mind, but I just wanted to put this out there. I just wanted to have a chat with you guys because there's been a lot going on and I'm trying to find that work-life balance. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave your comments. I love you guys loads and I will see you guys soon. So my camera stopped recording just before I finished my food, which is perfectly fine with me because you didn't get to see me struggle with the last bits with my chopsticks. All good. But it's 5:30 now and I finished work and I just realised that I completely forgot to answer all the questions that I also received on YouTube. So quick fire Q&A round of those last two questions. The first question. I've been in recovery for over a year and still eat tons of chocolate every day. Do you think I'm lacking some nutrient or not eating enough? Good question. It could indeed be that you're lacking some kind of nutrient, but more likely than not, your body is just craving high calorie, high sugar, dense foods because that's what it needs and that's what's most helpful at this stage in your recovery to gain weight and to repair the functions in your body that might be lacking at the moment. That's why sugar cravings are pretty much a big thing for a lot of people in recovery. Whatever is the case, it's really important to listen to it because the craving is there for a reason and the craving will pass once your body has got the nutrients, the energy, or whatever else it needs from this product. Question number 2, by the same person. Is it normal to feel hungry super late at night, despite eating loads in dinner and dessert? That makes me think that the answer to your previous question is that maybe you do need to eat more, especially earlier on in the day. I know that I personally struggled to eat a lot at breakfast initially in my recovery and then would eat a lot later at night, and this became a bit of a cycle, but it did mean that yes, I was very hungry late at night. This finally passed for me when I started to really force myself to eat more earlier on during the day as well. So give that a go. Sufficiency and regularity are key. What would you say is the distinction between still really harmful disordered eating and an eating disorder? I think it's a fine line, and whichever camp you're in, keep going because full recovery is possible and you don't want to stay in that state of quasi-recovery. I promise you. How to avoid relapse and how should I push through the guilt when eating? I have got a lot of videos on both of these topics, so I'll leave some really useful links below. Also regarding some of the other questions that I've answered because I have a few videos that aren't just quick fire, but that go into a lot of depth. What should I do if both me and my best friend have an eating disorder? And how can I help her, but also stay on track with my own recovery and not be triggered? The best thing to do is to focus on your own recovery, to be a positive role model and to keep yourself on track, to keep yourself accountable, to keep yourself responsible. So eat sufficiently, eat regularly, gain weight, and change that eating disorder mindset. Challenge the eating disorder and focus on yourself first. And then, if you're able to, do provide support to your friend, but only after you've taken care of yourself. You can be a listening ear to her, or you can set up food challenges together, but don't feel like you are responsible for her or you should be her savior. In the end, it's her who needs to take responsibility for her journey, and you who needs to take responsibility for your journey. So keep going. And it sounds like a really difficult situation, but you can and you will get through it. Believe in yourself. The next question is about a woman in recovery asking, why is my insomnia, OCD and panic attacks so bad and getting worse? And why does my mental hunger stay, but I'm physically full and no specific food is appealing? In terms of the first question, it often gets worse before it gets better. During my recovery, I started getting all sorts of ailments that I didn't have whilst at the worst of my eating disorder. It's part of it. It's your body carrying out repairs and not quite sure what to do yet with this new energy intake. It's re-regulating itself and you have to be patient, but it does pass. The OCD and panic attacks can also be because you're leaving behind a coping mechanism. The eating disorder has been a coping mechanism for who knows how long, and you're letting go of it. It's really important to try to find some new coping mechanisms, healthier coping mechanisms to replace it. As a result, you might find that the OCD and panic will also subside to some extent. In terms of the second part of your question, why does my mental hunger stay, but I'm physically full? This is part of the extreme hunger phase, which can be mental, can be physical, can be both. But because you've denied your body nourishment for however long, it is now trying to make up for it. It thinks that it has been starved and it needs to get in as many calories as possible before a potential future period of starvation. It's completely normal, it's uncomfortable, but it's something that will pass if you keep eating regularly and sufficiently. Anyway, I'm off to do some relaxing. It's almost 6 o'clock now and I've been working since 7 this morning. I think I deserve a little break. And you do too. Have a lovely Friday. Or, well, Sunday when this goes up. I love you all loads. See you soon. Subscribe, like, leave any more questions. Ciao.